Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to Ask That Podcast here on YouTube. I'm your host, Newt. Another comic, man. Another Alan Moore comic. Read more comics, baby. Read more comics. More with two O's. And comics with an X. Alright, yeah, if you're under 18 and got real strict parents, don't let them catch you reading this. Hey, it's got the Mature Readers logo on here somewhere. It's a Vertigo print. It's Saga Swamp Thing Book 2. Alan Moore, Stephen Bissett, John Tottleman. And this one here, let's read the back here. Beneath the earth, there is muffled, booming voices. Beneath earth, there are terrible lights. And the ripples widen across America through the very darkest minds. From 83 through 87, a young British writer named Alan Moore revolutionized the American comic book. His groundbreaking tenure on DC Comics Swamp Thing set a new standard for graphic storytelling and touched off a revolution in media and still expanded today. Okay, the only difference between this and the ones on the first one is, let's see here, Stephen Bissett, John Tottleman, Sean McManus, and Rick Veitch. The second of 6 volumes collects 28 through 34 and Swamp Thing Annual number 2, plus a foreword by best-selling author Neil Gaiman and introduction by acclaimed Hellraiser writer Jamie Delano. This is one, I read 2 volumes of this in one night. I got that deep into it. So, all right, so we got Bissett, John Tottleman, Sean McManus, Rick Veitch, Alfredo Alcala, Ron Randall, and Bernie Wrightson all working on this one. What's the Bernie Wrightson? Oh, okay. I know what it is. I know what issue that is. There was a... Yeah. I completely forgot about that. Okay. So Jimmy Lano's got a great quote in there. I end up stealing and using for something. All right, so this is Swamp Thing. This is the Bears, Alan Moore. Sean McManus did this. And this one is interesting because by now, he knows he's not Alec Holland. And she calls him Alec fairly often. Don't keep calling me Alec. I'm sorry. I'm not Alec Holland. Alec Holland is dead. What he ends up doing is he goes out to the swamp. He sees the ghost. He goes out to the swamp where he was created. And re-experiences some of his old memories, with Alec Holland. And watches his origin. And then, he sees the original yellowy, kind of different looking Swamp Thing. He thinks he's dug an empty grave because there's no body. Put any members. There's still a skeleton. So he digs the skeleton out and buries it. And the ghost smiles. And that's the end of that. Good issue. Love and Death. We're getting... We see Abby, she's all destroyed and distraught. Look at that. And he lets her know she can call him Alec. Matt takes her to this new house. He said he put a down payment. He's got a new job. And it's with this Black River Re Corporations. And she's saying people is dead, then they're back to normal. And the names, like Sally Parr, these names sound familiar. And what ends up happening is she finds out that they're all dead people that have been brought back from hell because... Okay, well, that bug we saw, I think it was last month, Matt Cable. Well, guess what? That bug was her dad. What was his name? Anton Arcane, her dead uncle, who's come back and possessed her husband, and since then, yeah, look at that. That looks like some out of an underground comic. And as a kid, when I read this, I didn't realize the full implication. I'm like, oh, her husband is possessed by her uncle. Ooh, that's kind of creepy. Now I'm going, oh, wait a minute. Read between the lines here. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah. And that's how that issue ends. And then we get this amazing cover. I love this cover. This is issue 30. Halo of Flies, Stephen Bissett and Alfredo Alcala. This is another. Is this when he's? Oh, this is the. Or this tells how Arcane came back. He explains this whole thing and what he's doing and why. And look, I love this. They're in Arkham Asylum. Come on, Woodrow, easy now. The Bayou, coming out of the Bayou. What the hell is wrong with them all tonight? Mr. Woodrow just went to start whacking his head against the soda. Trouble is, anatomy like his, who can say how bad he's hurt himself? There. You want to see something really scary? There. The Joker stopped laughing. And there's the Joker. Look at that look on the Joker's face. The Joker stopped laughing. And then we get this, the Monitor, and this woman looking at stuff, and you see the Spectre, and you're like, huh. Crisis on Infinite Earths was getting ready to happen. This is a Crisis crossover issue, but Moore did it right. The Crisis stuff is just like, okay, yeah, page or two, that's it. Yeah, he did the crossover right. And this ends up being Arcane versus Swamp Thing. And it is... He goes and finds Abby, and guess what? Abby's already dead. Her soul has been sent down to hell. And this next issue is... She's dead. This is Rick Veitch and John Toddleman. Because Bissett admits he could not keep up the monthly schedule on this. It's the Brimstone Ballet. And this is him. And we get a little bit more of the Crisis stuff. We get the Demon. I have always thought this guy right here is supposed to be Rick Veitch. I don't know for sure. It's either Rick Veitch or Neil Gaiman, and I don't think Neil Gaiman was known well enough back then, so I'm thinking it's Rick Veitch. And this goes into the annual, which I remember being pissed having to pay $1.25 because I'm like, man, $1.25? That's a lot of money. This is basically Swamp Thing descends down in hell to save Abby's soul and bring her back. He goes through purgatory, meets the dead man. He meets the Phantom Stranger. And this is all more setting up stuff for way later volumes. These characters all become important. Alec Holland's there. Great picture of the Spectre right there. He ends up going through hell and ends up running into Etrigan the Demon. And he ends up getting her soul and bringing it back and bringing her back to life. And it ends with him out in the bayou and she's alive. He's crying. And we go to issue 32. Now this is, there's no Comics Code Authority. They dropped it off this and they were still getting some. I don't remember seeing Swamp Thing as much on the newsstands by this time. This is one where I knew if I wanted to find a copy, I had to go about once a month, usually the second week of the month. Walden's Books in the next couple towns over in the mall had. And it must have been selling well because I remember being there when they're stocking and they're getting like 12 copies in. And back then at Walden's, about the only comic they would get, how many copies in almost like Batman, Spider-Man, X-Men, So this must have been selling fairly well. This is the Pogo issue by Sean McManus. And it's basically Pogo. If you don't know Pogo in the swamps, it's Pogo. It's a cute issue. I enjoy the art and everything in it, but it's one where it's a good way to transition to the next storyline. We've wrapped up the Abby and Arcane storyline. So we get this Pogo, storyline here that's really well done, but then this, issue 33. And by this time, none of the artists could keep up on the deadlines because of that annual and everything. So we get basically a reprint. But they did it anyway. Because look at this cover. That looks really good. It's like House of Secrets, 92 is the first Swamp Thing? And what it is it's called Abandoned Houses. This is who did this? I'm trying to remember now. But Abby has a dream where she ends up at the House of Secrets and the House of Mysteries with Cain and Abel. And they're talking about how there's no use for them anymore. Their series have been canceled by this time. And this right here, I think, is where Gaiman was like, I could use these characters. And he did. And it's just a little setup. They reprint the original Len Wein, Bernie Wrightson, 9 page Swamp Thing first story, which is a really cool story. I have a reprint of it. I have 2 reprints of it. I have a black and white and a color one. And that ends with, of course, Cain killing Abel. And Abby waking up and writing down something that she don't want to remember. And then we get some posters. Get some art. Here we get a Toddleman Abby. That's a Toddleman Swamp Thing, 83, 84. We get a Bissett Swamp Thing. Then we get this great painted cover. Look at this last issue in here. Rites of Spring. And Matt, of course, is still brain dead. She's out in the swamp with Swamp Thing. Is this the... And this is when she confesses she loves Swamp Thing. He loves her too. And they kiss. And he pulls this tuber off his chest and gives it to her. And she eats it and just starts tripping her ass off for like the rest of the comic. I mean, look at this. You got to turn the comic all kinds of ways to read it. It's like... And once again, I was reading this as a kid going, I don't really get this. Swamp Thing's getting really weird, but okay, pretty art. Then we end with that panel. And that's the end of Swamp Thing Volume 2. I will cover 3 and 4 sometime soon. Hope y'all enjoyed that. If you enjoyed that, go get these comics. These are too easy to get a hold of. As far as I know, they've never done a good version of this in any other format. I would really like to see DC do this. Yeah, they got the Harley Quinn series. Why don't they take, and like once a year, or maybe twice a year if there's enough demand, pick 2 different runs that are acclaimed, comic runs that are acclaimed, and do them as an animated series. I mean, some of these Swamp Thing issues, you can compress 2 or 3 of these issues into one 30-minute episode. So you could cover like a whole trade probably in like 4 episodes. Easy. Won't they do that? I don't know, but I'm out, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment, subscribe, all the other bullshit. Laters.